go to the end point now. Let's go to the point where you have turned a project around. What changes? What feels different? And I'm not talking here about the specific things that you do, but just generally, what's the overall feeling at the end of a successful turnaround?
So I've never turned around a project where basically everybody hasn't gone, whew, that was close, but we got there, right? I don't think there's too much euphoria, right? Because chances are, and this is a really important thing when we talk about project turnaround and project success, chances are I've not managed to turn it around so well that we've recovered the original dates, that we've recovered the original budgets and outcomes, right? Because then I'd have to be some kind of magician, right? It's just that I've made it better than it was going to be if they hadn't done something, if they hadn't sort of taken an approach that I and others can do of sort of putting a bit more governance and around the rescue aspect of it. And so I think that's really important. They're not going to feel like, yeah, we won, it's great, we're all heroes. They're just going to feel less shit. And I know
Yeah.
that's a strange thing to say, but that is sort of like, we made it. We didn't ruin our lives. We got through. The customer's still with us. And for me, that's a bit like, oh great, I broke my balls helping you, and actually, we just all feel okay
Is
about
that
it,
all
and
there is?
the customer hasn't sued us. But do you know what? Actually, my metrics, if I were measuring myself, you didn't get sued by the customer. That's good. They didn't enforce the penalties in the contract. That's good. We didn't have to sack everybody. That's good. So my metrics are pretty horrible metrics actually, but that's what success is in project turnaround.
Yeah. And I've been in situations where you just feel it. You just, oh, this project or this team or whatever it is just, I don't know, it's just not working. And you get to that point and you make some changes. And even if you then start regularly delivering on 30% of what you promised, that feeling takes over. And suddenly the rest of the 70% begins to fix itself.
And I think that's true of projects to the left and right of the one that you're fixing, right? You're often called in to fix a big, hairy one with a really important customer, for example. And and everybody else sort of starts to look and likes going, well, our project's not quite as buggered up as that one, but maybe I could learn stuff. And that's when you start to get like socialized a bit. People start going, could you come and talk to us about what you're doing over there? And
Come fix
actually that's
finance.
yeah, yeah. Oh, okay. And
Yeah.
and but that's all part of it, Jeremy, in that, you start to leave in the organization what good looks like. You start to leave in the organization a feeling of hope that it's not all up the Swanee, and these things can be, through a little bit of, doggedness, through a little bit of rigor, gradually brought under some level of control. And I think, you asked me about being a hero, right? I want to leave an organization in a better state than I found it every single time. And I've been in programs, no names, no pack drill, but I've been in programs where the CEO's brought me in. I've helped turn the program around and maybe coach some of the teams for other programs of work. And then I've gone, right, I think we're good here. And the CEO's gone, please don't leave. Please don't leave. And you're like, no, they'll all revert. They'll
Yeah.
all stop
Yeah.
if you're not here. And it's like, hang on, I'm not insurance, right? You have to, the culture of the company has to embrace what you need to do to not get into the same situation again.
Right. So, but then I guess that raises a question in my mind because you cannot be the permanent fix, right? David Crawford is not the fix. It's your approach and what you leave behind and the change in behavior or process or whatever it is that you leave behind that can then continue, keep that project on track and then spread, right? So in that sense, yes, you're working your magic, but you are truly not the sort of caped crusader. It's what you leave behind that really matters.
Correct. And that's really important, because if I allow myself for a moment to become the Cape Crusader, if I allow myself to let people think if I'm not there, you'll flounder, it'll all go back, then, well, I mean, I'm not being a very good person. I'm not handing knowledge back into the company, which seems disingenuous. And also I'm going to be there forever. Right. And don't get me wrong. I've had contracts like that. I've got one at the moment where I feel like I probably should have been in a position to leave a little while ago, but nobody
Right.
else quite feels that comfortable yet to let me
Got it.
go. Mrs. Crawford likes that because they keep paying their bills, right? But
Yeah.
I'm a bit like, come on, guys, up your game a bit.
Right. And this is the whole reason why we've got you on the show, right? It's we always say that this is an audience first show. So it's not about David Crawford. It's about what
Exactly.
you do and what your practices are. Now, every guest leaves behind an asset, some handout that people can download and then they can use it this afternoon. And the thing that you've brought along is the very tool that you use when you go into a situation to just get a grip on what's happening, help identify the problems and turn it around.